Sound speeds, and welcome back to Masked Mics. This is episode number 3, which means we're going to be unmasking the microphones that were masked in episode number 2. But first, if you have no idea what that means, you're going to want to start with that playlist link right there. Use it and have some fun. But for those of you still with me and are anxious to see what these microphones are, microphone number 1 being unmasked now is the AKG C535EB. And microphone number 2 is the Technica AT3035. Both of these microphones are no longer sold in stores, but you can find them any online place that sells used microphones, like eBay. eBay sells microphones. As a matter of fact, I bought this microphone off of eBay. And when I bought it, in all fairness, the guy I bought it from did not test it first. He said in his description that it checked out fine. It sounded great. But he had 12 of them he was selling, and he listened to about half of them, and the rest of them he had sold except this one. And this one was bad. It had some damage to it. It buzzed. So I wrote back to him and I said, this microphone is broken. I made him a video and he said, yeah, I'll refund your money. I said, well, hold on a second. If I send it to AKG, I have some experience with them repairing microphones. Do you mind if I send it to them and let them kind of, ascertain how much this is going to cost as a repair? He's like, yeah, sure, that's fine. I'll even pay for the repair. So I said, great. I sent it to AKG. They gave me a price. He gladly paid for it. And I got this microphone fixed and it is back to factory specs. They basically left the outer casing of the microphone the same, and they replaced all the innards. It sounds great. The microphone is no longer sold, but they do sell an upgrade. This is the 535EB. The 636 is now sold, and it does sound a bit different, but if you are interested in it, the link is down in the description. Now, this microphone here, the AT3035, you're like, well, wait a second. The 3000 series? Are you kidding me? They don't sell a 3000 series. They used to. But Audio-Technica decided to eliminate the 3000 series microphones a few years back. And when they did, they had to determine what they wanted to do with the 3000 series microphones. Either they could start charging more money and upgrade them into the 4000 series, or they could integrate them into the 2000 series. Well, they looked at it and they said, well, we like the way this microphone sounds, but could we actually get away with charging more money for the same microphone without really changing it at all? No, not really. So they opted to make it a little bit cheaper, change out some of the components and make it a little more inexpensive and release it as the 2035. That's the reason why most people that compare the 2035 to the 2020 and other 2050, other microphones in the 2000 series, they always seem to like the 2035 more. That's because it was actually a 3000 series microphone and engineered to be as such, but then they decided to basically make a couple of components on it cheaper and make it a 2000 series microphone. So that answers that question for you if you did not already know. The 2025 microphone is sold in stores right now, and I have the link down in the description if you want to buy a new microphone. If not, find one of these online in a used store. That is awesome to do. I like to buy used microphones as long as they still sound good. If they don't, then I will either get them repaired or I will say, no, you know what, take this thing back. So if you have a microphone you would like me to blindly test, be sure to write me an email at soundspeeds@yahoo.com and let's talk about it. Until then, well, let's get into a new microphone comparison. Get your listening ears on because we have 2 new microphones for us to compare in this episode. And before I get to our story, why don't we start with a noise floor test? This week's story yet again comes from SED, and it took place maybe about 8 years ago, if memory serves. I was working on a show that was about 20 miles from the nearest interstate highway, so it was very far removed from what we consider to be civilization. And being down there, we only had maybe 1 or 2 bars when we were not on the stage. But on the stage itself, specifically stage 1, we had no signal. Your cell phone completely dropped off, no bars. Doesn't matter if you were with AT&T, Verizon, Sprint, or T-Mobile, you did not have any bars. Now, the exception was if you climbed on top of a ladder on the stage itself, you could climb up on top of a ladder and use your phone about 10 to 15 feet up in the air. Or you could climb up these fake stairs that we had that were basically just visual stairs that people would walk up and down for the show because this was an office set. You could walk up those stairs and then at the top it basically went to nowhere. There was a wall. And basically people would just walk up there for the show. That's it. But if you wanted to try to send or receive a text message, you could go up there. Now, being that I'm on set a whole lot, and never really leave, I couldn't exactly do either one of those things because I would miss a lighting thing or something that would pertain to my job, and I could not be tied up doing weird non-job related things like sending text messages to the wife or somebody else. So what I would do is I would stand on set, and I came up with this wonderful idea, or at least wonderful in my mind. I, believe it or not, at the time had a BlackBerry. I don't remember the model, so don't even bother asking. But the BlackBerry fit perfectly inside the shock mount that I was using, which was a McDonald mount. If you're not familiar with it, it's made by the Pro Sound Corporation, PSC. The McDonald mount is basically two pieces of metal with rubber bands that connect up between the two of them. By threading in a microphone, you could suspend it between the rubber bands, and it would make a really good and effective isolation. Now, the McDonald mount had a gap between them about this much, between the front isolator and the back isolator. And what that allowed me to do is slide the BlackBerry perfectly between there. And because I was not using a microphone that was resistant to RF, if I sent a text message on my phone when I had no signal and I put the boom pole up about 15 feet up in the air, I would hear my phone connect. It would go, and it would then start to connect and send my text message. I would give it a few minutes, and when I heard the text message come back in, I knew that my cell phone was picking up my text message. When it went quiet, I brought my phone back down, and I was able to get my text message. It was very effective and made quite a few people jealous on set because this is an early era of iPhones, and those phones did not fit perfectly in the McDonald mount like my BlackBerry did. So my BlackBerry was quite effective with regards to doing one thing better than a smartphone, and that was sending and receiving text messages because I could hear it coming and going inside of my shock mount. So that was my story for this particular week. Hopefully you were able to have some fun comparing these two microphones. I will reveal what they are in the next episode, but until then, it's my secret. Take care. Have a question you'd like answered or want to add something? Be sure to write it in the comment section down below. You can also make a suggestion for future topics of discussion. Again, comment section down below, or you can email me at soundspeeds@yahoo.com. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss out on future sound advice.